What's going on, guys? It's GC with another Avatar Korra commentary. Now, today I rethought about what I said about the Legend of Korra's video game sequel, right? Now, what really caught my attention was the large amount of recreation of various benders, such as the Return of the Airbenders, of course, combustion benders, lightning benders, pretty much every alternative style of bending that has been showcased throughout the entire Avatar series. Now, with this in mind, it also makes me think that if there's to be a sequel to Korra, or potentially the earthbending Avatar, I'd like to think about whether or not would this alternative style of bending be the main showcase for another Avatar, or another showcase in the Legend of Korra video game and its sequel, if there is to be one. Now, what is really exceptional to me is that, unlike Aang and his video game series, they didn't just break the video game down into each book. They're getting straight to the point with Korra, as in they're just going straight forward with her abilities as they presently are. Now, with this in mind, I'm really not really concerned so much as really what I'm hoping is such a thing that is developed, because we all know that Avatar is known for its imaginative style of creativity, its such relatable characters, and various plot twists to keep the viewers into the state of mind of, like, okay, I never believed that something like that was capable, but it actually is. Now, the difference between Avatar now and Avatar then is basically the fighting styles that were used in Avatar are now alternative styles of kung fu, taijutsu, mixed martial arts, not just one generic style of martial arts in each bending style, but one in particular of where each is developed through a number of various attempts. And as such, we know that the Avatar series has turned out to be something of a large fan base, which is to it's been into comic books, video games, TV shows. The Avatar had a television movie that was not so good because, it had a lot of controversy and all of that. There's talk of a Legend of Korra movie that I talked about in one of my last videos, but of course that was not to be is to be considered due to the fact that the developers are focused on creating multiple seasons for Korra, which means that a book 4, book 5, maybe even book 6 for Korra, and potentially leading up to the next Avatar series, is possibly something that is to be created. Now, when I say in terms of sequel to Korra, I kind of believe that Korra should not only focus on the main styles of bending, but also its alternative style, because as we've seen, Korra has gotten into the point of where her bending has been put to a certain equivalent level. But at the same time, we also believe that Korra also is capable of getting herself out of a small bind. Now, for example, if Korra were to learn lightning bending from Mako or whatever, the potential, easily ability to escape a larger situation would be based on the fact that she has a even stronger amount of abilities in her arsenal, not just earth, wind, and water and fire and stuff like that. And if I had to guess, combustion, I would say, is something that it could be really paid attention to, because there's a very large amount of talent within combustion bending, because if there's to be Korra's focus on such a concept, it would mean Korra herself would be able to, don the symbol of combustion bending, and then be able to make her probably one of the most powerful avatars there is out there. Now, I say that because there is a number of things that Korra could do, such mud bending, metal bending, sand bending, various alternative styles of bending. But yet there's some concepts that are to be, to be discovered, even if the creators don't want to express it. But I would like to think that there are certain things that Korra is capable of doing, even if the developers are not really, thinking of it at the time to come up with. But quite frankly, I'm really impressed with how the series has progressed over the years. Even with such a generic style of kung fu, which some of us can find relatable, it's also based on a number of characters whose fortitude and respect and love for one another that has created such a prolonged series, and that a series that has developed over the last 6 to 8 years almost. Now, we all know that the reception for the first Avatar series was great and took up most of Nickelodeon's early and afternoon time fan base. And with Avatar Korra, her fan base has grown even greater because her character is based upon relatable to those who are of that age limit at the time, even though the series is aimed at an audience for ages 7 to 15. Now, reason I say that is because the Legend of Korra saga is a little more different and a little more focused than it was for Avatar. Unlike Korra, she doesn't stop at every turn, to do little things like Aang, Katara, and Sokka did back in their time. But, they always willing to put up certain scenarios of where a like kids get into all types of mess and stuff like that, and they have friends at their side to get them out of such trouble. And with that in mind, it also is a possibility that Korra is probably going to continue into, maybe another game or two, maybe 2 or 3 games up to that point. But what really interests me is the matter of fact of whether or not that the entire series is to be discontinued or continued in the next few years or so. Now, whether I say that there's going to be another Avatar, it's still my theory. But at the same time, it makes me think of what if they do an entire spin-off of Avatar altogether? What if they do a certain spin-off of the series itself, or probably the spin-off episode is based upon what is on the game itself? But anyway, that's my thought on it, you guys. Drop a comment down below, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.